This is
Voice
of
Mira.
This is Voice of Mira.
Hello everyone,
I am Atri.
and I'm Betsy. You're listening to another episode of
Abroad and
Beyond. This is the podcast that takes you on a journey across the globe through the eyes of those who have chosen to make their home away from home.
Whether you are an expat yourself, dreaming of living in another country, or just curious about different cultures and experiences, this podcast is for you.
Join us as we explore the challenges, triumphs, and everyday adventures of life across borders.
Let's embark on this journey together. Today we have Eszti with us. She's a member of the core team of Mira. And we are so happy to have her. And she's a big exception in our podcast because she's not actually a foreigner, but she is one of the people who actually has the most contact with foreigners. And we are so very happy to have you here, Eszti.
Thank you for being here, Eszti. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from and a little bit of your story.
Mm-hmm. So my name is Esther, but everybody calls me Eszti. And I've been working with Mira for 3 years now. And I'm from Hungary. I grew up in Hungary, but since then I lived in many different places, but I ended up again in Hungary.
Are you from Budapest?
No, I'm from the countryside, from a place called Nagykanizsa. It's next to the Croatian border.
Ah, okay. And can you tell us a little bit about your childhood, the memories you have? How was it growing up in the city where you come from?
Mm-hmm. So it's a small city with around now 45,000 people living there. So I grew up there, I went to kindergarten there, elementary school and high school, so everything. And I also have another special place, which is called Sopron, which is again another small, quite beautiful town in Hungary, next to the Austrian border. And my mother is from there, and my grandma and my grandpa used to live there. So I spent a lot of time in my childhood in Sopron as well.
But why then you were born in another city? Why not Sopron?
Because my father is from Nagykanizsa,
okay.
And then my mom decided to move to Nagykanizsa. So I grew up there, but then my mother really liked Sopron so many times, in the summer, and
So
every month we visited Sopron as well, and I stayed a lot with my grandparents there too.
So would you say your best memories are in Sopron or in both cities?
I think I have very good memories in Sopron, and this is usually true for me, is that I have nice memories from Nagykanizsa, but I always like new things and traveling and going to new places. So maybe this is why I have better memories from Sopron, because that's new and exciting
It's
to
also
be there.
when you went to Sopron, it was the holiday thingy. So you didn't go to school there. So I don't know, you didn't
That's true.
serious work there. So
Just for the fun.
Yeah. And my grandparents spoiled me, of course.
yeah, of course.
So I could play the whole day.
Do you have any specific memory of your childhood which is really good and you still remember it? I don't know, the best memory of your childhood?
No, not really. But now I can remember one memory when I said my grandparents, is that we always did competitions of painting with my grandpa, and my grandma was always the referee, judge.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's very interesting because since then, even when I was a child, I was more interested in mathematics, and I was never a too artistic kid. But still, in my childhood, I was interested in painting and these kind of things. But since then, no. So it's a nice memory that was really different at my childhood.
So are you a nerd?
Yes.
Yes. I didn't know that. I'm asking, but I didn't know. So you came to Budapest for college?
Yes. Yeah.
Don't tell me studying mathematics or physics.
No. So in high school, I was good at mathematics, but I was good at all different subjects too.
She was a nerd.
For a while, I wanted to be a doctor, but then I realized that I really don't like biology and chemistry, and I'm scared of blood.
Okay, so
Not really a good trio.
Yeah, so then I decided I really didn't know what to do and what to study, but because I had good grades, I ended up at Corvinus to study business because that was quite general. I studied international business. Yeah, but only because I had really no idea what I would like to do.
And did you always think about coming to Budapest for college, or that's the one you applied?
Yeah, I think it's quite common because from the high school where I come from, at least with my classmates, everybody was thinking of going to university. And in Nagykanizsa we don't. That time I'm not sure we had a university. At the moment we have one, but it's a very small one. So only like a few things you can study there, and it's not a good one. So everybody was thinking to come to Budapest, or some people were thinking to go to Pécs or Szeged, but really just a few people. So it was just so common that everybody's coming to Budapest for university.
And did you move alone to Budapest, or were your family?
No, I moved here when I was 18 years old. Yeah, right after high school.
So alone.
Yeah, but I started in a student dormitory for 1 year, and then I moved to a flat.
It's actually like interesting that, you know, when like in Hungary, when you are 18, then you move out of your parents' home. Like usually in Iran, we do it after marriage. So before marriage, it doesn't matter what you do, you still live with your parents. And the only way that you leave them is like you move to another city for university or for your work, and they cannot accompany you.
In Brazil, it's pretty much the same. I would say Europe.
Yeah,
United
States. It supports
States.
independent
Yeah.
life much more than what our traditions.
But when you see statistics, it's not true because we also like move out after 25. Usually
In Hungary,
but I think because many people live in Budapest, like almost 1/3 of the population lives in Budapest or around Budapest, and there it's different because there people don't have the chance to go to student dormitories because it's only like places are there for people from the countryside, so they stay at home. Usually,
That's true.
it's more like a countryside thing that if we want to go to university, then we kind of need to move away. So this is why we come to Budapest.
And would you say you were excited about it? Were you afraid? Like being a countryside girl and then having to leave to go to the big city. How was that for you?
I think I was never afraid to come. I was excited. But the first few years were strange and I wasn't too happy. And now I know why I wasn't too happy. Is because in Nagykanizsa you have a community. Because if you go to, there are, I don't know, like 5 high schools there and people know everyone, or you know like who you know commonly, and it's just really a small town, and it's very easy to make friends because you go with one group of friends to the same, I don't know, bars, and then you meet some other people and then you just keep collecting friends. And we used to have these very cool things like New Year's celebration with like 200 people just like organized, and I don't know, so it was a cool place to grow up. But then in Budapest, at Corvinus at least, you start the year with 1,000 other people. So you go to freshman's camp and there you have a group at least for 30 people, which is a little bit like helpful. But then you can choose from many different options at university which classes you would like to go to, and even if there are some compulsory ones, but because like 1,000 people have to go to those compulsory ones, maybe you never meet with your friends at classes, only if you are lucky that you could book the same class. So somehow you don't have the same class over the whole university, but just go to classes randomly, and it was more difficult for me to find like a community at university. So I have friends, but I really miss that like close, I don't know, small town thing where you really know everyone.
What about your like home in Micronesia? Like, am I pronouncing it correctly? Okay, Micronesia. So was it like an apartment or a house or?
Yeah, I grew up in an apartment.
Oh.
In the city center, so I'm very much used to this as well, that I can walk to school in 5 minutes. And then in Budapest, first I lived in a student dormitory, which was 45 minutes from school.
45 minutes?
45 minutes, it was after Őrsvezértere, so...
Oh my
I always
God.
thought that the dorms were close to the...
Yes,
Yeah,
but not for first year students. Somehow
How is that
Corvinus-
fair?
It wasn't.
How is that fair?
Yeah, it should be the opposite, right?
Yeah, like
Because you still don't know
exactly.
how to walk
Yes.
around.
Yeah, so we were 45 minutes. So at home I lived like 5 minutes from school in an apartment, but only when I was 23 years old. I guess my parents finally moved outside from town, and now we live in a like house with garden, which is super cool.
Yeah,
But it was fine growing up in an apartment as well, because still like there is a lot of forests in Zala County where Nagykanizsa is, and we just did a lot of things outdoors.
So you said that you didn't really know what you want to study. So you went to Corvinus, and after studying there, how long was the course?
First, I studied there for 3 years, 3.5 years. I studied international business, and then I studied there for another 2 years. But that 2 years, I already went to India, so I wasn't only studying in Corvinus.
So I wanted to actually ask that I knew that you went to India to study, but after Corvinus, you realized that you want to study like what and why in India, and how come?
Not yet. Not yet.
But what did you study after international business?
Still like business related.
Business. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, I studied finance, but okay, so after Corvinus, I went for like 3 months or 4 months. I was traveling around Southeast Asia. I really wanted to go to India, but that time my parents said they don't really support my idea. So I went to Southeast Asia, and then I had to decide like which masters I would like to do, and I still had no idea, but I knew that I don't want to start working, but I would like to have a master degree. But my dream really was then to go to India, and there was this double degree program, which is called SAMS International Management. You have to choose one other university. There are like 30 universities involved, and you have to spend like 1 semester in your home country, 1 semester in a selected country, and 1 semester as an international field work somewhere else. And I did that in Rwanda later. And because it's management, for a second degree I didn't want to, because you need to combine this with another degree, and I didn't want to combine this with another management degree because it's just like double management. So I decided to study finance because I'm good at maths. That was my logic.
But what you're looking for was not really the finances, were
Like,
just
honestly, like,
India.
she chose the easiest,
Yes.
the easiest pattern to India. Like finance.
But it was a very difficult path, because finance is a very difficult
I
master.
can imagine. Yeah.
I wasn't really prepared, because I always thought, okay, I'm good at math, like finance degree is a very useful one, so let's do it. And I kind of hated it from the first second, so I really regret it, because I think how they teach at Corvinus is not too exciting, not just finance but anything, because they really just make you oh my god, I don't know how we say it in English.
Megoldani? Like
Bemagolni.
Bemagolni.
Only like
Bemagolni.
professionally?
To only memorize something like before the test and then forget it after the test.
Look at
Like-
your Hungarian.
Thank you.
Bemagolni, yes.
So they didn't teach us how to think.
But would you say that's like most of the universities here in Hungary? Like, have you had opportunity to talk to people, or it's mostly Corvinus?
No, I think it's general because Corvinus is considered as a good university in Hungary, but this was high school as well. So I had good teachers, but generally education in Hungary really concentrates not on skills, but on real, like what they would say, like real knowledge and facts, and that you know this. But the problem is that if you don't understand it, then your brain will forget.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very good at memorizing
It's not very
things and
didactic.
forgetting things.
You're studying here now. Do you think it's the same, Atrin?
I mean, now I think it really depends on the school. But what I realized in math is like it's not even the teacher needs to try, it's like the defaulting student's mind as well. So like math is all about different ways to solve one problem. And in Hungarian schools they teach only one way of solving the problem. And students can use it actually, but they kind of memorize what should they do with the numbers. So when my way is always different because my mind works differently. I prefer fractions over decimals. I make everything algebraical rather than geometrical and everything, because that's how they taught us in Iran. And when I do that, they can't take it in, like they can't understand at all. And even though it's like my way is more expanded and like much more clearer than what they actually do, they cannot get it because they don't really think of it in a different way. And in math is much more sensible because our teacher is also Russian, and in Russia it's also like Iran. So we always like talk about it, that how Hungarians are like not really understanding and feeling the math but just memorizing it. And with other subjects though, it really depends on the student as well. Like when you don't like biology, then you just memorize biology to forget it the next day. But I personally I cannot get through it if I don't understand biology. But the mindset for the rest of the students is like
yeah, but I would say you usually get interested if the teacher teaches you in a way that you can actually understand it, not just
I think with
memorize.
history and literature and grammar, these three subjects, they are like the Hungarian schools are doing much better in actually making them understand why they do that, other than like sciences and maths. I don't know, but because history is not like we memorize anything, it's just feelable. Or maybe our teacher is so great, but yeah, it's like we feel it.
I mean, we have to memorize a lot of things because at the maturity exam they ask a lot of facts.
Yeah, the history of the years.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's not even like only the teachers, but the students' mindset. It's like they got used to, because their parents got used to that method, and it's just continuous.
I think the problem is that we were really raised, at least in my countryside town, that it's just how it is. So you go to school and you have to learn this, and then you have to memorize this, and this is school.
And probably the same happens with teachers.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they learn that it has to be, so they just apply the same methodology that they've studied. And
you know what another problem is, like in high school, what I realized is teachers, or maybe in my high school only, but teachers don't ask for what they actually teach in a class. Like there are some notes uploaded which they don't teach, they teach from a PowerPoint, but there is like a document note as well, and that document note is much more in details and advanced than the PPT, like the PowerPoint thingy, and they don't teach it, so you have to memorize it yourself. And I've been to 2 high schools and it was the same, so I'm like, it should not be like this. because in this case the teacher is not also like not that good of a teacher, because usually when you are in a class and you're focusing or something, then it has to be enough for a test. Like you should not stare at some word and be like, oh my god, I have never heard this. It's not. It has to be mentioned in a class, but they don't. Was it like this in normal school as well? Or?
We didn't have PPTs.
That time, no. Okay.
Yeah, usually we do see the
Okay, sorry.
the age gap when.
It's not their problem, it's my problem.
Okay,
I'm
this
so
is
young
not
for
true
this
because
group.
in high school, at the end of high school, we already had PPTs, but only in some classrooms it was possible to like do it, and then maybe it was like homework to do a presentation about something.
Usually for
but
me it would be the presentations. The
Yeah.
students would
the
present.
student, not the teacher, yeah.
Okay.
But not really the classes. We wouldn't bring laptops to the classes to take notes as well.
Definitely
But
no.
That's not good. That's not even good. Like,
I
That's
didn't
not
have a laptop at high school, so yeah. And I'm not that
Different
old.
times. So you ended up studying finances, but eyes on the prize was India, was not.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
that
so,
was my main motivation at that time. Okay, I was a little bit thinking that I can study finance and then maybe just with these 2 degrees I can just change totally and then do something else, but at least I already have 2 university degrees. And then, yeah, I really wanted to go to India, and it was an opportunity to go there.
So you studied 6 months here.
Actually, I started I studied 1 year here for my finance master, and then the second year, this like double degree program, I started in India and finished in Hungary.
Okay. I think we can cut a little bit about the studying part and go to the interesting one. Can you tell us more about living in India? How was the experience, especially because you really wanted to do it? How were your parents about that?
That time they were cool with it
Because you're studying.
No, because they said that, okay, so I was fine alone for 3 months in Southeast Asia, so that was warm up, so then now I can decide, and if I think that I will be fine
How old
in
were
India.
you by then?
This time I was already 23.
Oh, okay.
So when I went to Southeast Asia, I was 21, and now 23. And I really loved it. So I just had this feeling that I was going to like it, and indeed, I really loved it from really the first moment. So what was very cool is that in India there are so many different holidays, because there are so many different celebrations, and with every celebration like a week-long holiday comes.
Oh my God.
And we had the rule that we could miss 5 classes for the semester from one course. So I really maximalized how much I can travel around. So I had, I think, in total a little bit more than 2 months of traveling, because even at the end until Christmas I had 2 weeks of traveling. And I visited so many different places and so many different regions together with others, even alone, and it was just very, very
And
nice.
one question, your class there was only international students, or you're also studying with Indian?
So my class there, this SAMS class, was only international students, because we were 13 people, and the Indian students in that course, they were on their semester abroad. So then we met
it
with
was
them.
kind of a exchange.
So we met with them in the beginning, but then they left. But in total, in that school, only 1,300 people studied. So we did all the classes together with Indians as well, which was very nice. And it was a beautiful campus. with it was kind of like a forest area with lakes and bridges and just very, very nice.
Beautiful. So you also made some local friends. Was it easy? Did you feel like you create the community feeling that you were missing here in Budapest?
Yes, I really felt like that, and it was very, very nice because everything was like common. So we had breakfast, lunch, and dinner there in the campus, and all the classes, and then sometimes things to do in the evenings. So it was very nice to do things together with people. I had some like Indian friends, but sometimes it was a little bit tricky to connect with people on campus because they were very, very, very clever. Because to be qualified in that school, you have to reach very high points on their, I don't know what kind of exam they have. They don't have maturity exam, but they have, I think, like entrance exams to university. So it's a little bit like different system. And like some of the people were just crazy clever. And they were concentrating a lot on their studies because they have a thing that at their, I don't know how, I don't remember exactly, but maybe at their second year, companies come to the school and then already they can have placements at companies. So their like later job they can already like receive on campus and very good jobs. So
That's
at one
nice.
point they were just like super focused on studying.
And then a first job.
Yeah.
Could you apply for that as well?
No. no. That time they had this kind of placement week, and that was also a holiday for us.
And
For
you were
everyone else who
traveling.
is not at their, I don't know, second year or this like time, so I was traveling. Yeah. So I spent 6 months in India, then I came back. I spent 6 months in Hungary, and then I went to Rwanda to do my internship. Then I spent again 6 months in Hungary to finish my studies because I had some subjects left from my finance degree, and then I went to Uganda to work there.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to Amsterdam to university. So this is like the rest of the
PhD
story.
degree in Amsterdam?
No, a totally different master degree.
Have you ever stayed for more than 6 months in Hungary? I'm kidding.
What did you study in Amsterdam?
In Amsterdam, I studied international development studies, which was super cool because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go because I worked in Uganda and there I already worked because in Rwanda I still worked at a small business, and their aim was to help like small businesses and farmers, but they were still like a for-profit one. And then in Uganda I managed to find a place where I worked in the non-profit sector in a small organization with like 10 people working there maximum, and they were organizing internships from students from the US and students from Uganda, and then they met and created groups together and worked in villages, which was quite nice, but also difficult because they thought that I would be close culturally to the American students, but I wasn't. I realized that, they're a lot more different than Hungarians' culture, so I was a little bit closer to Ugandan culture, to be honest, because I worked like kind of as like an intercultural mediator as well. And
when you say that, I feel like you are more connected. What connects you to your culture, it's that sense of community, way more than, let's say, the country in itself, you know, or the nationality. Maybe because where you come from, you know, a small city. But when you are saying that's my feeling, like you're always trying to connect with a community, like the sense of being together as a big family, let's say that. Yeah,
I think that's true, and this is why I could connect to Ugandans a lot more, because they're really like, it's a collective culture, and they really think of community all the time. And but Americans were very, very individualistic, and they were more concentrating on their studies, that this internship will be beneficial for them because of their studies, not really to like find friends and I don't know.
Yes.
Which was a little bit shocking for me. And then since then I realized, since I moved to Budapest, that Hungary is kind of in the middle. Like we are a little bit divided, because me coming from a small town, I'm more like this community is very important, and maybe it's just my personality. But still, I really believe in this. But I think Budapest is a lot more like individualistic, and this is why I didn't find really home in Budapest. Yeah, but first I didn't understand this. Like, why is it like that?
Yeah,
Then
a big shock.
you finally came back to Budapest, and then you stayed in Budapest. You didn't go from Amsterdam, so you did that in Amsterdam, and then when it was over, you came back to Budapest.
Yes, but yes and no. So how it happened?
She stayed 6 months.
No. So Amsterdam. Yeah, I wanted to finish the story that I worked at an NGO in this development field, but I already didn't really agree with many things, because development is many times like, okay, let's develop the like underdeveloped areas, and we know like how to do it and stuff like that. But I still went to Amsterdam. And I really liked the masters, because there were many teachers who taught the same way as me. And what I really liked in Amsterdam is that all the courses were totally different, with totally different teachers, and they made us think a lot. So for every class we had to write an essay or do something, but to really just think about issues. And then what was funny, that we learned that international development is, let's say bullshit. I don't know how to say it nicely. I was really thinking.
So, study as like a suggestion. Do you suggest studying international development, or do you?
I mean, it was good to learn that this is a field that really needs to, I don't know,
Develop,
renewed. And I understand that. I also believe in that it's what we should do is to focus on initiatives which are more grassroots, and we should focus on communities, and we should believe that communities would know what the best for them is, and this is the direction I wanted to move forward.
Did you settle in Budapest finally after that Amsterdam thingy, or not?
So yes and no, because I moved to Amsterdam in January in 2020, and then COVID came. So what happened is that around March I had to like move back, but I didn't move to Budapest, but I moved to Nagykanizsa, and I really thought that I can go back to Amsterdam, because this master was 1.5 years long, because I had to do a pre-master, because they accepted me in university, but with one condition, that I do a pre-master, because I studied business, so it's like not really connected to this field. So after a pre-master, I can do the master. And I really thought in March, when I came back to my hometown, that, okay, so in a few weeks.
Yeah, everyone thought that. A few weeks, and then we are back, and
I can go back, of
Everything
course.
was fine.
So then I ended up in after going to India, Rwanda, Uganda, and Amsterdam, and I just ended up in Nagykanizsa.
Okay. I thought
Not
you
in
were going to say
Budapest.
Africa again. No.
No. For 6 months in Nagykanizsa, and then I moved to Budapest for 6 months. And then after that, you moved to Budapest.
Yes, but that's again personal reasons, because I met back then boyfriend and now husband, and then we were thinking, okay, what to do. It's still COVID, but let's move out again from our parents, and then come to Budapest and do something here. And then that time I already knew that I would like to work at a civil society organization. So I had, I don't know, for 1 year I was working at a different place than Artemisio, with 2 different places, but I liked those places, but I didn't feel that this is like the right one, and then I ended up working here at Mira.
How did you meet Artemis? How did you get to know it firstly?
Just to find like an online advertisement.
Okay.
So, but
I
for
didn't know
you-
Artemisio before.
It's because for you it was different because as a Hungarian, looking for a job, you already knew what you wanted. So you were searching exactly for, because the other people they were interviewing, it's always like, oh, I needed to learn English or I wanted to connect with community, and then they found Mira. For you it was definitely like looking for a job, and then, but it was at Artemisio at first, or you came straight to work at Mira.
No, it was first at Artemisio, but already like it was a call for a project coordinator for a project connected to integration of migrants. And that project used to be called Shape, and I was coming for this, but I already said that if I'm working on this project, then I can,
The folders, there are folders here, the name is Shape.
Yeah.
And then they already told us that okay, I'm not just a project coordinator, but I can like slowly get involved in Mira. But that time Mira was super small because we just came out from the pandemic. But it's very interesting because when I quit my previous job, the next day the war broke out in Ukraine. So then I joined like Artemis and Mira, and we knew that like we need to grow again bigger because there will be a lot of foreigners, like there will be a lot of people from Ukraine coming to Hungary. So then we needed to really
Were you
restart
excited about it? Were you like, wow, a lot of work coming ahead?
Yeah, it was like a strange situation because I didn't have too much time to like learn everything, but it was like immediately like a crisis situation, like okay, what should we do? So we need more teachers because people would like to learn Hungarian for sure. We need like a mentor program, like a better mentor program, and we need mentors, and then I don't know, some more community events. And that time I think every week we had maybe one community event. Now we have I don't know, 8. So
Yes.
yeah.
And did you? So this is one of the questions that I don't know, like we talked about asking that. Do you think you work with foreigners because of your love for, I don't know, intercultural community and the whole love that you have for community, or is it like a sense of sympathy and empathy and help?
No, I think more like the love to create like a community, and I also like understand because I lived in different countries. I understand like that it's difficult to like build up a life somewhere else. Yeah. But that's a good question because that was always my struggle, that I wanted to like work with people, like help people, but not in a way how like other NGOs are doing it, like okay, I'm the person and I'm helping you and something like that, but to more like create a
Friendship.
yeah, like
Or
a
that
partnership
work,
and
connection.
giving and getting and connection, and to like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. You've done it. That's how we. So you were saying that there wasn't a lot of events by then, but you still had a lot to plan and a lot to do in the community. And right now we do have a lot of events and you still have a lot of planning. What would you say it's the difference when you first started and now, and like the challenges of it?
So when I joined Mira, what was very difficult is that Mira existed before the COVID, and it had the same idea that, but back then it wasn't called a core team, but it was called a council. That members,
serious.
that members are like contributing and organizing events and everything. But that was the past when I joined. So when I joined, Mira was not in the best shape. And it was the crisis situation. So then we really had to act fast. And then in the beginning, we didn't concentrate too much on community building. And then after 1 year, we managed to grow bigger and then attract more people around us. And we could turn back to community building, and then we came
through
back
more events, would you say?
through more events, and people started, and more volunteering, because we always try to involve people. That if we saw that some people are coming to events regularly, then we asked, for instance, that we want to start an intercultural evening series. And then first we started with Ukraine that time, and then we asked our Ukrainian volunteers. Back then Natalia was one of them.
Okay.
we asked our Ukrainian volunteers to organize a Ukrainian evening, and then slowly we found people who are good at creative things, and then we asked them whether they want to contribute and organize things. And then we finally it was last year in March, I think, when we had the first team building for core team, and then we launched this idea of core team that it's not like Mira colleagues, Mira staff who is working at Mira, the 5 of us who will organize all the events, but we want to give it back to our members, and then to come and come together and think about what kind of events and what kind of ideas we can bring into Mira together. And then slowly it became better and better and more popular. And now we have crazy many events. I can talk about the challenges if you want.
Yes, please.
Because
it's not just happiness and events.
Because the challenge is that from the reality is that we need financing for all this.
Yeah.
And what is very difficult is to find projects to support us, because we usually write projects when we say that, okay, so we don't exactly know what we are going to do, because it all depends on our volunteers, what ideas they bring in, but give us money. So this kind of operation is difficult, because when I joined in the first 2 years, we had fixed financing, that because of the Ukrainian crisis, that someone supported us and we had the freedom to do anything. And in this year, the funny thing is that we have a lot more initiatives from volunteers, but we have more rigid financing from 5 different projects. So we try to explain as much as we can that, okay, usually we have these kind of events because there are patterns like intercultural evenings, hikings, kids programs, family programs, celebrations. So we can say that, but it's still there are and creative programs, so we can categorize it. But it's difficult to combine somehow this reality of how normally NGOs work and this kind of involvement.
So now, what comes next?
So I'm leaving Mira, which is quite sad, but
It is.
I'm really sad.
yeah, I will miss Mira a lot. But I stayed now in Hungary for 4 years already.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, almost 4
How
years.
could you do it for that?
and I'm
And where
going
you
back
going?
to traveling. So in the last two years, we started to plan a big trip. And we had different ideas. First to go to Asia, to go until India by car and come back. Then our next idea,
India again.
yes. But then our next idea was Africa, because that's also in my heart. To go around Africa in 1 year, and now we are probably combining both of the ideas and going to travel for 1.5 years with a car to Africa and Asia.
That's amazing. Yeah, that'll be a long one. And I don't think we have to ask you more about why Asia, why Africa.
Yeah, she already answered it.
The question is, are you really staying just 1 year? Are you coming back?
I mean, we should, because we will run out of money. So, Yes, I think we are planning to come back. At the moment, this is the plan, but we are not planning to come back to Budapest because my husband and me, we don't really like living in Budapest because we didn't find... the community with Mira, I found a community, but and I have friends, but still somehow I'm not connected to the city. So we are thinking to move to the countryside.
Is he from here, from Budapest?
No, he's also from Nagykanizsa. So it's easy like this, that we are from the same place. So we will move, not necessarily to Nagykanizsa, but maybe somewhere nearby. So this is the plan. We would like to come back home.
Sopron.
Yeah, Sopron is nice. Yeah.
What color is your life now? With all this traveling and stuff going on?
Yellow is my favorite color. Like you don't see it now, but usually I'm wearing a yellow coat as well.
And your necklace
and my necklace and my earrings are yellow as well.
Is it like the color of happiness?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have a motto in your life?
Travel, but I think also I like to live and like find new things and try out new things. Yeah, and eat. I really like to eat. I didn't mention, but when I travel, I really like one main thing is to try out the
India.
cuisine.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am sure lots of eating. So good. Thank you, Eszti. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your story.
It was so interesting.
Yes,
Thank you.
It's actually inspiring. Maybe
it is.
I'm gonna quit my job.
Thank you, Eszti. We were really, really, really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And we're gonna miss you, but we wish you all the best in this new journey. And whenever you come back to Budapest for 6 months or maybe just a weekend, we're probably gonna have an event here.
Yeah,
And please
definitely.
join us. That's all for today's episode at Abroad and Beyond podcast.
Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and like it. Leave us a comment if you would like, and remember, the world is full of amazing places and people.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.